Alright, so welcome back to the XA Falcon. Let's just quickly button it together and drive it home project that's now into its 4th or 5th, possibly 6th month. Today I would really like to get it sort of doing car things and take it for a proper drive would be good. Let's see if we can do that. Probably a tad optimistic. What do you reckon? You gonna play nice today? Probably not. Oh, come on. Right, so I think the first thing we're going to do, we're going to make a list. We still need to do brakes because they were bad. We need a fuel system because it was completely plugged up. We've got some electrical gremlins that we need to sort out, and I'm sure there's some miscellaneous things like we don't have seatbelts or any of that stuff. I'm fairly certain a lot of that stuff's going to be missing. So let's start with the brakes. Let's start with the brakes. Calipers coming off again. On the plus side, because I've already done them before, they're way easier. Now this is just me doing a really quick and dirty rebuild. All the internal seals and stuff were just gummed up and gross and not working, so we cleaned them out, cleaned them down, put some new seals in and made them look good. But I did a full video of the rebuild of these if you want to have a look. It's always the worst part, is trying to get these to undo without breaking them. And then busting your knuckles on the springs is also my favourite. Alright, so that one's going to play. This one is not going to play. What I tend to find is if you can get them to crack without breaking, you can normally wiggle them enough that they eventually start to do what they're supposed to. Then that saves you all the mess of having to make new lines. Why are the threads of this fitting 14 miles long? Seems entirely unnecessary. From my very limited knowledge of brake masters, I'm pretty sure that when you take those out, there should be fluid coming past them. At least a little bit. But it's holding there. Which, I mean, is good because I was worried about it leaking fluid all over the floor, but it's not good because obviously it's really blocked up. Yeah, well, looking at that, that also may potentially be some of our issue. Because that is just good. Given the state of that, I think we might take that off and do that as well while we're going. Now, the story here was much the same as the calipers. Just gummed up with old fluid and really not working. All the seals just fragmented and fell to pieces. So we pulled all those out, we gave them a clean, cleaned out the bores and put it all back together. Now, the booster was okay, it just looked ratty, so I thought I'll give it a quick touch up and chuck some paint on it, make it look good again. Quick puff of air through the lines to make sure they're clear. And we're just going to throw them back in. They're probably a little bit dirty, but they're good enough what we're doing. So let's see how that goes. Now this is just putting in the new brake lines, soft lines. I got these aftermarkets and they did not fit well at all. The rather than being 2-bolt lock standards, they had a single bolt and a locking pin, and the locking pin did not line up with the original holes. But we managed to get it all together, we got it plumbed up, and I think they'll work okay. They'll be better than the ones we had anyway. I just want to point something out here. There is no play in this bearing, and I just pulled this cap, and even the grease in it is not bad. Like, it's not bad enough in that I'm not even going to pull it off. I'm not even going to do the bearings on the fronts. They are smooth, there is no grinding, there is grease in both of them, and I feel like taking them off is just asking to have issues. So we're just gonna not do that and just say that they're good, because we don't have enough issues like this with brake lines. And of course, as any sane and respectable man would do when it doesn't want to play, fire. Don't worry about all the stuff catching fire in here, it's fine. Sufficiently hot. And yet still, oh, there we go. I think that just broke free. Oh, it did. Got him. And it was about this point we had technical issues with the microphone again. So anyway, this is just putting in the other side soft line and chucking in some new brake pads. I like to give them a rough up with some 80 or 60 grit sandpaper. Just take any protective factory coating off and make sure that they bed in the way I want them to. All right, there we go. Pretty rebuilt calipers, new pads, old rotors, because I don't have money and stuff's expensive. All right, we're just going to throw the booster back in first because I think that just feels easier. And once we sort of wrestle this back onto the pedal, then I'll bolt the master on. We'll get that bled, and then we can try and bleed the brakes out and see if we have brakes. Now, I would have brought you along to show you reconnecting this pedal, but the words that I'm using would get me banned from YouTube, so let's just say that it was sucky and move on. All right, we're all set up again. Let's do an in-car bench bleed and see if we have brakes. Okay, that was a mongrel of an idea, but I got everything hooked back up. It's all bled out. Let's see if we can actually get some brakes going. Okay, let's try a brake test. Oh, yep, they're there. They're working forwards. Yes! And they're quite tight. All right, we're just going to quickly drain the fuel out of this tank so we can swap it over, but look at the colour. Look at this. It is just gorgeous. I'm pretty sure there's about 20 litres of this crap in there, so that's going to be fun. That's not great. It's making me question the possibility that this tank can actually be recovered too. Tell you what though, I'm very glad I opted to put the filter before my little clicky clack pump, because that would have been potentially catastrophic for the pump. Okay, so we've gone through and removed all the stuff from the boot, but there's still a lot of, just general crap. So let's give that a real quick vac out and make that a little easier to work with. And I might actually be able to find, I'm pretty sure this is just bolted from the top. Got a couple of bits and pieces. Oh my goodness, look at that original paint. That's pretty. And then really good nick. So I'm going to take this cover off, but we're definitely going to put it back in. Okay, so that's more better. I'm going to go through and spray everything with some penetrating spray, and we're going to try and take off those hose clamps so we can take the filler neck out, because that filler neck is full of disgustingness. So we'll get that clean. Now we'll see if we can pop this fuel tank. Curious to know, how do you guys deal with rusted in bolts? You do the turn in, turn out, you hit them with the torch, heat them up, skip all the drama, just drill them straight out. Let me know, because this technique works, but it only works all the time, about 40% of the time. Come on, don't break off, please. Okay, so most of them came out. Well, they all came out, but with varying degrees of success, so we're going to have to replace some. But for now, I'm going to remove the filler neck, take all that out, and then hopefully this will just pop free and it won't be stuck in there with, 17 years worth of rust. Look at that. Straight apart. No problem. Dislike using power tools and this stuff, but a lot of the time These actually work better because they don't slip, and when you actually get some momentum you don't lose it straight away like you do with the manual hand tool. So that'll just sort of pop free, maybe. That was far easier than I expected, which means the rest of it's going to be a pain. Yummy. Alright, let's see if this tank will come out. It's going to lift right out. Oh, it's still heavy. It's still heavy. Oh, it's still very, very heavy. But it comes out. Yes! Win! Really should have cleaned my floor space before I pulled it out. Well, that's something I didn't account for. There's a rust hole in it. And it's a bad one. Actually, I thought the tank was in good shape, aside from the fact that it was full of crap. And it just turns out that that is not the case. And the horror story continues to get worse. And worse. And worse. So I decided I'd do the smart thing because I don't have a spare tank and I can't get one in any, reasonable sum of time. So I decided I'll clean this one out, and we're going to just try and patch that hole up, get it as clean as we possibly can, maybe run some kind of sealant through it, and just use it anyway. I do have a new fuel sender. I shelled out and bought one, and by the time I actually get to driving this thing or doing something with it, I will replace the tank. But for now, this will do. Okay, so we got the tank kind of cleaned up. Sort of cleaned out. I don't know if you can see anything. It's still not good, but better than it was. So, that's a bonus. It's going to have to do because I don't have another one. And then what we're going to do is clean up this spot. I think I've got it to a point that it's kind of got some sort of structure to it. And I'll put some old JB weld over it, and hopefully that'll stop it leaking and give it enough until I can get another tank. I got updates, had a bit of a poke around just to see if there's any other soft spots, and there's a lot of them. So I don't think I have enough JB weld for that. We'll see how we go, I guess. Okay, so we've got some of this epoxy metal fixed stuff in. Apparently it's, it suits gas tanks and stuff, so it should be enough to get us going again at least until I can get around to replacing this. We'll find a new one. And while we're going, I'm also going to, waste some money putting a new sending unit in, because why not? I guess if it doesn't completely destroy it, we can always take it out for the new tank. Okay, gasket's in there good, so we might have to get a seal pick to get that out. Alright, so I caved. The old tank over there was just, it was too bad for me to be happy with it. So I've got this one. It's actually out of an XC, so it's got a couple of extra ports and things, but I'm not hugely worried about it. Hopefully it won't affect it too badly. The biggest thing it's got is these pollution ports. Got our new sender in this unit. The tank is clean, it should be fine. I trust it more than the other one, and it was close to work, so wins all round. Okay, so we've got our new fuel tank in, line hooked up. We're going to test it for leaks, and then we'll give it a test run. No leaks from the new sender, which is nice. Lines are all good.
Hey, this is definitely going to leak.
We have our makeshift fuel pump and system hooked up, so we'll hopefully be able to draw some fuel up, and a fresh new battery. So let's see how this is going to go. All right, we're pulling fuel. It all looks okay. Let's give her a kick and see what she does. Still no accelerator bump. Well, I thought it would have filled the bowl by now. Here's the choke. No, it just hasn't quite got up there yet. All right, gave it a little bit of help. Let's try it now. idling a little low. Still sounding pretty good at idle. But I can't tell if that fuel pump's working. No, looks like it's trying. Maybe it'll come good. I can get rid of this electric pump. And even better still, fuel gauge is working, temp gauge is working. Cool, we're getting somewhere finally. While I was here, I'd have a look at this flasher relay and just see whether it was an issue. I've got one here in my hand that's from another car, which is actually an old original Heller that was out of an old XB. But I've had a look under this dashboard here, and I actually think someone's already stolen the flasher relay for some reason. Anyway, we might see if putting a new flasher relay in it helps. Okay, so it would appear you have to take the whole instrument cluster out to get to the flasher can. Wonderful. Okay, dash panel's out. You can just sit there for a minute. But shockingly, I still can't see a flasher unit. According to the manual, it should be down like right there on the steering column. The turn flash indicator is located on the back of the instrument cluster on the brace. So where is it? So I found the flasher unit. Guess where it is not? It is not where they say it is, on the console steering column. It is actually in the back behind that ashtray, right up there on this stupid mount that is just clipped in. And it is impossible to find. So, you know, note for next time. And for anybody else who wants to try and get to this damn thing. Alright, I've got one of these Nava, whatever they are, flasher cans. I don't know if it's the right one. They tell me it is. Let's see how it goes. So new flasher kind of helps. We get that on that side. We get the indicator noise on the other side, but that's about it. So we have an indicator noise, but I have to hold this because this crab's broken. So I might have to do something about that too. All right, let's see how it goes. Well, I'd call that a success. Runs, drives, brakes, which is, you know, a nice thing. It's nearly there. We've just got a couple more electrical gremlins to sort out. Hey buddy. A couple more electrical gremlins to sort out, and she should be good to go. Still gonna need fuel. Those brakes are still a little spongy, but at least they work. Dude, I'm trying to do a video. Hey, I'm trying to do a thing. Yeah, so we'll get those couple of other things sorted, and she might be right to go. We might be right to hit the road. So stay tuned, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe, and if you want to see what's going on.